Welcome to Oh Brother, a podcast where we try to figure it all out. With your hosts, Brandon and Colin. On this week's show, railroad adjacent dioramas.
Ahoy.
Ahoy!
How's your winter wonderland?
Oh, it's wintry. I'm staying inside. It's crazy out there.
So hold on, I gotta move my mic. Hold on, it's gonna be
Fair. Anyway,
oh my
talk
gosh.
over it.
Yeah, it's what's fascinating is that we didn't even get the amount of snow that they were forecasting by like a long shot, and yet it's still terrible.
Oh no, yeah. I mean, still going too. So we're not done yet.
Oh,
either.
I know.
So there's that. But it is really fine and very like powdery snow. It's so dry, right? The cold air is so dry that it doesn't it's hard to probably forecast that part. But we have a lot out here. Like, I'm not going outside to measure currently, but there's a lot of snow out here on my road. And there is a substantial amount of snow drifted up against my house right now. It's a huge.
Yeah,
I think it's
30-mile-an-hour straight line winds that really make this really wonderful.
That's the blizzard part of it.
Yeah, I know.
Right. So it's okay. Like, I still probably have, just straight up over 8 inches of snow in the unblown parts outside, which is not insubstantial. But the blown parts, like how it's it's definitely 1.5 feet deep.
Yeah, I think up here it didn't quite get to those. I was kind of as I was walking dogs and stuff, I'd stick my hand in the snow and be like, "How do you do that?" I think I only was hitting 4 to 5 inches, but drifts well over 10 inches or whatever.
I know. I usually test the trash can lid because it stands alone.
Oh.
It's nowhere else, right? And it just accumulates all this snow. And there's a lot of snow on my trash can. So I'll get a final count a little bit later. But usually, because it doesn't blow, nothing blows onto it, and it's flat, so it just sits there. And it gets a lot of snow. It's really weird too, because looking out the back of the house versus looking out the front of the house is a very different experience. Because in the back, it's it's just lightly snowing. When you look at the front, it's
yeah. That's what I ran into. Where it's this is not all that bad. And then I would round a corner and I'd go, no, this is actually that bad. Never mind.
Yeah. And let's not forget, my current feels like temperature is -13. So
nice.
So it's just not exact. It's not just a happy fun time out there.
No,
it's not.
No. That's
without the wind chill, it's around 5.
Okay.
That's Fahrenheit for all of you. All of our international friends. I know this temperature talk probably annoys you because we do it wrong.
Great.
But that's 5 Fahrenheit. So that's we're already well below freezing. Right. So,
yeah. Well, that's what's made the road maintenance pretty ridiculous. Is that it's just nothing, no pre-treatment. Pre-treatment really stops working at 20 degrees. And so anything below that, this is just we're just fapping about here. But it's so weird. The roads, they've done a really great job of keeping a lane open, one. And it's
really?
I can actually drive 50 miles an hour on this. But then suddenly it'll just be and nothing. Everything is covered.
Gone.
There are tracks everywhere. And there's inches of snow drifts and things like that on a 3-lane highway. And you're just no. So it was, and then, and people will be coming up and it's okay, I'm going to go 35 miles an hour because that is a consistent that I can drive
That feels right.
Yeah.
That feels right, you know.
Consistently, and I can do this I'm not having to slam on my brakes when suddenly the road turns into Hoth.
Yeah.
Right? Like I don't, because that's what people were doing, is they'd be going 50 or 60 when the lane was totally clear. Because
why are you trying to go 60 in a blizzard, bro? What are you doing?
Well, here's the thing.
I know people in Missouri don't know how to drive. I'm aware of this, but
drive. They don't. But here's the thing. They think the lane is clear. So therefore, the lane shall be clear forever.
False.
And yeah, then all of a sudden, like I'm watching, and then up ahead you see their bright taillights like illuminate. And I'm like, they found the not clear portion of the road. And oh, look, we're going 35 miles an hour. Hey, look at that, everybody.
I can't imagine what a horrifying experience that is for your car to be going 60 miles an hour and then hit 4 inches of snow. Like
I know. Just
no thanks. That's just like death. Like that's how you become dead, right? This is how you accidentally follow step 1. Don't follow step 1. That's important.
Exactly. Yeah. Stay consistent here.
Yeah.
So
don't do that. Okay. The reason this is funny, and if any of my students are listening, they'll understand this.
Yes.
I have this video about how fossils are made, and the lady like deadpan face goes, "Step 1, die."
Oh.
It's like how to become a fossil. And so we're like, no. Don't follow step 1. That's
step
the
1.
Don't follow step 1.
But we're not going to do.
Yeah. Anyway, just after some brief calculations here for our international friends, current degrees Celsius, -15.
Oh my gosh.
With a wind chill of -25 Celsius. There you go. So for all you international people who are like, what the heck is Fahrenheit? That's your number there. Wind chill of -25.
And it's going to get even better over the next couple days.
It's the going down. That's what.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. So, like, I don't know. We're having this discussion. It's like, okay, so let's say the snow stops at midnight. Will it be at all better by the time that it's in the morning? And the answer is
it'd probably be worse, because it would just be, this snow is so powdery, it's just going to be it's going to freeze, like just kablam. Yep. Like they didn't even try to do, usually when it snows around here they like try to come and do our road and stuff. Nothing. They're like, nope, not even worrying about it today, because it's just gonna blow and snow more, so too bad. I don't.
Yep. So that's what we are having fun with. So we'll be out in it again tomorrow morning, sliding a boot, having fun. And I was like, oh, I'm glad I'm not driving my front wheel drive car currently. This is good. I'm glad I have all 4 wheels turning, because that's helpful right now.
That is useful.
I mean, it doesn't help on ice. Obviously,
no, but I mean, it kind of does
a little bit.
You know,
a little bit.
It's kind of helpful on ice.
It's not the magic pill that a lot of people think, because if one wheel is sliding all about, all of them will be most of the time. So
yeah, but if you're let's just say hypothetically, you're a Finnish rally driver, who cares, right? It's all true. Good, right? You just slide on the ice and it's fine. And
let me just what if hypothetically you're
Mika Häkkinen, right?
I wasn't a Finnish rally driver. Is that a problem?
I don't know. I think that's one. I don't.
Should I be concerned?
I should have, because this show is so well researched. That's
yeah. That's a
yep.
That's
he is. He's a former sports racer. Oh, he's an F1 driver, but I bet he can do it too. It's fine. Carlos Sainz Sr. He can do it too. I know he's a rally driver.
Oh, so I learned some more Top Gear lore today.
Did you?
I did. So you know that the episode where they reveal who the Stig is, and
and it's Michael Schumacher.
It's Michael Schumacher. Do you know why it was Michael Schumacher?
No.
So
I don't think so. Anyway,
on that same episode, the Ferrari FXX is driven.
Oh, that's because that's his car.
That was his car.
Yeah.
Not only could he not, like, A, he didn't want anybody else to drive it, but also B, Ferrari is really particular about their special edition cars and who they allow to have it driven by. And you have to basically, like, get permission from Ferrari for this kind of thing.
Which is weird because you bought the car. But again, that's their car that's like, the FXX was that's like they will deliver it to a racetrack for you.
Yes, that is that
you
one.
actually can't drive it on the road. It's like not allowed.
Yeah. No, so he was there driving his, and they thought it would be a funny stunt. And look, all these years later, that moment is still spectacular because it just added to like the myth and the ethos of everything going on with the show at that time. And I love it. I rewatched that transpired today, and I was like, yes, this is wonderful. This is wonderful. I love this so much.
Nice. Things I have been watching since I've been doing absolutely nothing.
Oh yeah, snow days abound. And today was President's Day, or sorry, yesterday was.
But they canceled school like yesterday, like real early. They're like, nope, not, and they canceled school for tomorrow at like noon. They're like, yeah, no, no way.
Yep.
Not happening. Gonna deal with it. Which fair, because no. It's real bad. Real bad out there. But so I have been doing, lots of nothing, right? Plus Susan's been like really sick, so I've been hiding.
Oh,
right. We went it was weird. We went Sunday to eat with her family because it's her mom's birthday, right? So she'd been feeling like kind of meh or whatever. And then so we go Sunday, we eat at this place, and then Sunday night she was like, nope, I am now extremely ill.
Oh no.
Yeah, it was rough. So it's weird. After we ate dinner, she was like, nope, done. So she fought through it all yesterday. She seems to be doing a lot better today. So this is good. But I've had even more time to hide because I've just been like bringing her random drinks. Here you go. Here's some more water. Right away.
Sliding them through underneath the door.
Yeah, like here.
Awesome.
Yes. So between that and playing random video games, right, which slightly distracted me also, shirking my homework, right, and I have fallen down because I fell down a YouTube rabbit hole, right, a big one. Oh, actually a small one, technically.
Oh,
right. I've been watching people that make like hyper detailed like miniature diorama things.
Oh my gosh. now are these like what kind of miniature dioramas things? Because
well, a lot of different ones.
Okay.
Some of them are like they're kind of like some of the so I started watching some that were like video gamey, right? Because I did like somebody made like one of the Dark Souls boss arenas, so obviously I'm watching that.
Did you see some Warhammer 40K or whatever?
No, well, I didn't watch those ones. So I watched ones that people like make like some of them are railroad adjacent.
Okay.
Right. Because the miniature making hobby and the model train hobby, there's a big Venn diagram overlap there. Right. But so like they'll just make a little thing. It's just like a building, right, with some stuff or whatever. I watched a couple they're like super cool, but the one that I've been really obsessed with for 2 days is my big obsession of 2 days. It's this dude his I'll send you the channel link here in a little bit. But like his name is like Boylai Hobby Time, right? That's his channel name. He makes these like little dioramas. I think he's sort of done like they're kind of like hybridized fantastical things, right? Because like I've also watched the Mini Bricks guy. It's like, this video here that's pulled up is like a camper, right? It's like a camper at like a swamp or whatever, and it's kind of neat. But like this dude is like partially in conjunction with, I think he's also sort of developed this like tabletop game that goes along with this like weird fantasy alternate universe he's created about like the Wild West, right? It's called like, I don't remember. The name is it's like Wild Imagination West or something, which is, that's a name.
Sure.
Right. Oh, it's Wild Imaginary West. This is his like tabletop RPG thing that he's kind of like created,
Okay.
So again, the name is, I don't know about the name. Anyway, but it's like Western-y stuff, but with like monsters in it, right?
Oh.
So like one of the little dioramas is like these dudes like canoeing across a river, and they're like like little tiny 1/72 scale people, but then he has like a 4-inch alligator snapping turtle in the same river with them. So it's like,
oh, this is fantastic.
It's kind of cool, right? Not kind of, it's super cool is actually what it is. So here's that snapping turtle one. But like this is the thing I've fallen down. I've been watching other people's stuff, but mostly his, because I like this stuff. So it's like all about the model making, right? He comes up with these, they all have like these weird stories because it's part of his like expanded lore universe.
I see.
Which is very interesting.
Yeah.
But like I like watching them make all this stuff because they'll like make the diorama stuff, and then they'll like do the foam cutting, and then some of them like 3D print stuff, or sometimes they just have like random model kits, and they're like, the word I learned is called kit bashing, where you just like take random pieces from different model kits and stick them together.
Oh, well, how about that?
Yeah, learn that word. So, and to like make their own kind of thing, to like use a figure from this one, or like one of the ones he just like had a figure, he just like bought it. It's like for a different tabletop game, but he thought it would look cool, so he put it in his, he like made like a mine thing with a giant spider in it. So there was like, it was like a cross section of like a mine with like miners inside, but there was also a giant spider in there.
Oh my gosh.
But that came from like a different tabletop thing that he just like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to change it a little bit and stick it in my thing because it looks awesome. So like,
that's
that kind of
really
stuff.
Cool.
It is really cool, right? It's really neat. And so I've been watching a lot of these videos.
This is oddly adjacent to something that I fell down a little while ago. Aquascape competitions. Have you watched these?
No.
Okay, so there's something called the what is it? Aquatic Gardeners Association International Aquascaping Contests. Click on some of those. It's kind of in the same vein.
Scared.
No,
like the terrarium dudes.
Terrarium like dudes. Yes, only it's like fish tanks.
Okay.
Right. So this is what they do. So you can compete in a career. Yeah. Yeah. And there are all sorts of different sizes and things like that.
Holy
that's
cow.
What I fell into a couple months ago of this like terrarium building, but aquascape building as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty amazing.
That's neat.
Yes. Yeah. And there's so many different channels to get into with these, but because they'll do like thimble sized terrariums, and then there'll be these huge things and whatever. Anyway, yeah. So that's when I'm watching that video of the
turtle thing, right?
The turtle diorama, and that's immediately what I thought of as I was watching this. I was like, oh, I have seen some things that are very close to this.
He also made one that's like, it's like not in the same, it's not in his expanded universe thing, but he made one. It was like a dragon attacking a tavern, and it may be the coolest thing I've ever seen.
Oh.
It was awesome.
I just pulled up his lobster attacks fisherman diorama.
Oh yeah, that one's cool too. I saw that one. Right. I like the resin pouring and stuff. That's pretty neat.
Yeah.
He does a lot of like the resin work, which is kind of cool. And so this is what I've been watching. It's just like people making. There is kind of a theme of like a lot of people do this like kind of like horror adjacent one where it's like they play with the size where it's like, oh, here's some normal sized people and a giant other thing, right?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Like a giant spider on the side of a building or something like that, right? Like, so it's kind of neat, right? It's kind of interesting. He also did one, he made like a big display diorama for like a giant Millennium Falcon model thing. Which
wild.
I'm in, right? I mean, like it was like landing on a thing with it, like, and I was like, okay, well, I'm sold now. Like,
have to do this thing.
Star Wars diorama. I'm in. Okay, like,
oh my gosh,
I'm watching all that. So yeah,
obviously.
So I've just been sort of watching this. It's really fascinating, kind of how they have to work to put the things together to like reverse engineer the final product, which I'm assuming they're visualizing, maybe sketching out, right? And then how do you reverse that backwards and start from like this block of foam and then build up the parts to get to here, right?
Right.
That process is very interesting to watch because like not just the layering up of like the painting, obviously, because like people that paint those little figures it's just really neat. That process is always really cool, right? As a person that cannot paint anything, except a wall, right? I can paint a wall. Oof. Boom. I got that, but like artistic painting, I've never, out of all the mediums I've ever tried in art, that one, no. No paint. I mean, it was like, well, this is not good.
Yeah, because in this one, like, I'm watching this boat, the lobster attacks the fisherman. Like, I really like this because, like, he even takes the boat. It's another model for something else, like a Coast Guard ship or whatever. And he customizes it and he paints it and he adds some other things to make it a fishing boat. And then the way he ages it with the paint and does the different lighting with it, like that's something that's just completely crazy to me. And then just watching him, like, after he poured the acrylic, I don't know whether it was glue or something, but like textured the surface so it looked like water. And I don't know.
I don't know exactly what it is. It's called like water ripple thing.
Oh,
and it's like it makes it look like the surface of the water. I don't know exactly what it is, but that's what it's designed to do.
But it is that, like you said, reverse engineering. I think that's a great way to do it because you can't get the cart before the horse on all of these things. And like there is definitely a step by step process. And you see that in the aquarium builds too, or the terrariums, where it's like, in order to get this final result with the plant here and this here, like you have to figure out and back solve into how this is going to grow, or how these two for this thing, how the clay and the foam are going to mix. And anyway, it's just, it's beyond me, basically.
Yeah. This is very much a thing that I do, like a skill set that I do not possess even a little bit. So I think it's just really, I think that's the other thing that makes it cool to watch is like just how all of these different things work together. And I do like the engineering part where he's like, oh, I needed something that looks like this. So I dug in my random box of stuff and I found this thing, which I think will work cool. And I was like, yes, I can get behind that line of thinking. This is how I operate all the time.
Yes, exactly. Like this is just,
I understand
just here.
That. I understand. Yep. I understand random parts boxes. Okay, sold. Let's go.
Yeah, I too have random parts. I think I can do this.
Yeah. So like, I cannot do that, but it's really cool. I just really think it's really interesting. Like watching that. So that's what I've been watching is people building dioramas that may or may not contain overly gigantic monsters. and be Wild West themed, sort of adjacently.
Totally fine.
There's a lot of lore in this Wild West thing he's got going on.
Huh.
It's like a very deep lore thing he's just sort of developed, I guess. I don't really know. I also don't know what he does with all of these things. Like,
do you think he sells them?
Well, some of them I know he's like displayed in other places, right? Like the Millennium Falcon thing, he said it's like huge. It's like the size of a coffee table, but he said it was being displayed in like a store or something. So like, or a coffee shop, maybe something like that. That makes sense. But like, that's the other thing with a hobby like this, was it's really cool. But you can make like tons of cool stuff. Where do you put it when you're done?
You can only
like,
run out of room, right? Like
you're making display pieces. So like, is this more like model railroad adjacent? Is there just a room in this dude's house full of dioramas?
Right.
Right. That's the other thing. Like, where do they go? Because a lot of them, like I said, if they're on his theme for his thing, right? His wild imaginary West. Again, the name, bro. But like, if they're all kind of in a theme, where are they going?
Yeah. Are there dedicated collectors? I did notice at the end, he does have a lot of Patreon supporters.
He does.
Maybe,
so like,
are they buying them at discounts or something?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe some of them. That could be true. Some of them, I think a couple of them he said he's going to give away for like a thing. But like,
yeah,
that's nowhere near all of them. He's got a lot of videos out now. So like, yeah, where did they go? That's what I wanted. That's what I need to know. The back end of this hobby. Like, what do you do with it? Because this is the general problem with hobbies that make stuff, in my opinion, right? Like, it's all well and good for like, you can make clothes, right? And like drawing is kind of okay, but like, where do you keep all the stuff? When you're like making things like this, if you're not selling them, which some people do, because they're just like, well, I just like doing it, and then like, if somebody wants it, I'll sell it, whatever. But like especially something like this, you're making these like big, elaborate, or not even big. Like some of these are just like, they're kind of smallish, right? So they're not like, they're like book size, so they're not like huge. But what do you do it? What do you do with it? Like, where does it go? Like, it would be like, it would suck just put it all in a box. That'd be lame. But like, is there just like billions of shelves all over the house, just like full of dioramas? And like, if your favorite thing to do is just like make more dioramas, it's like, this gets out of control real fast. Like,
yeah, there's got to be. I don't know how you offload
again,
things.
as somebody who does not create in this manner, right? Like,
yeah.
I don't know how it works. And this is just me speaking from ignorance, because like, I don't really art a lot. I used to like draw some, but then it's just in a book and you put the book in your desk. And I never drew enough to like have many sketchbooks. You know what I mean? Because I'm not like good. So I don't.
I'm not one of those guys.
I don't know what it's like to be good at art. So I don't know.
Well, or just to be creating something that you just have now copious amounts of. Like when you're, especially when you're creating slowly, especially in a physical form. Like if it's digital, like you can just like whatever. But like in a physical form, okay, you paint one thing, and then you paint two things. And if these are spaced out, it's kind of okay because you can do something with them. But if you're painting on a weekly or multiple pieces a week basis, or you're doing these kind of large dioramas, there's only so much space in your house. Yeah. And then you kind of have that plan of speaking of Top Gear, remember that episode where they had that guy who accidentally built the car in his kitchen?
Oh yeah, in the house,
in the house, because he just started to put it together and then suddenly realized, I can't actually get this out.
Dang it. Oh well, but I've come too far, so we got to keep.
And they had to cut a wall, whatever. Like, it's very much like that, where all of a sudden you're like, these have to go somewhere. And I guess you hope that you can get them displayed or have them in different, on display or whatever it's called, in different exhibits and things like that. Because it's the same thing. I watch videos of people who do like welding, like the sculptures with like the like the scrap metal and stuff, where it's like that you did a life-size grizzly bear out of metal. Like, where that better have a home, right? A
lot of those people are selling that stuff too.
Yes.
But like, I just don't know what he's doing though. That's what I don't know. Or, I mean, maybe there's like upcoming video, how to renovate your attic for more storage space.
You know what?
Creating an attic room for mini sculptures.
It would just be for no particular reason.
Yeah. No reason at all. Just needed an attic room. Always liked attic rooms. Whimsical and whatnot.
Yep. It's whimsical attic rooms. Ha ha he ho. Oh my gosh.
Yes. Oh. Well, we also had a bit of a catastrophe on the World War I metal album of the week. Because we do have a no Nazi guarantee here at the Old Brother Podcast.
Oh no.
There was just enough questionable Reddit posts for me to be like, dang it. Right? It's one Reddit thread and it's like, oh, well, that's no good. Because here's the problem, right? I'm tired. I'm struggling to continue to listen to like black metal, right? Like it's getting hard. Because it's just not my favorite genre, right? So I had one that was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I kind of like this. It's more like normal death metal-y, which is like, okay, like melodic death metal-y, so I can handle that. That's fine.
Sure.
That's relatively normal. Sure. But then it was like, oh no. So like this afternoon, I was like frantically like, oh no, now I have to find more things.
Oh no. Well, you fly too close to the sun. Sometimes you're gonna find a Nazi, I guess.
Here. Yeah, you gotta. You see, this is what happens when you fly too close to the German metal scene. It just pop open, right? And I was like, oh no. So we have did on this. Hold on, where'd it go? Yeah. Wait. Yes. Why does it show? That's very weird. I don't understand.
I don't know.
Wait, what?
Huh? What?
Why is there? My phone is saying that there's 2 conversations with you and Aaron, and I don't understand why that is.
Didn't you just send one over?
Yeah, but that's in a different.
Oh, did I mess it up?
Yeah, you did. Anyway, it's fine. Okay, that was confusing. Okay, so we're going here with this.
Okay.
This is very metally named, right? This guy, this Kriegshistorie guy. Yeah. Well, really, we wanted the reason that we picked this one. That I picked this one, not we. I'm not bringing you into this.
I'm not doing any of this. Don't.
Yeah. This Kriegshistorie guy. This is the Montagne del Morte, the Mountain of Death, because this album is themed around the Italian Austro-Hungarian front in the Alps.
Wow.
During World War One.
Wow.
There you go. So like,
don't mind if I do.
Yeah. So it's as it's fine. Like it's okay. It's kind of it's all right. But it's very on theme. They're very appropriately themed for what's been happening here. So we're going with this. So it's pretty good, right? It's not bad. It's themed around the book. This is the emergency pick because the pick that I had to abandon, And there was some other ones I was listening to today, and I was like, this is okay. Like, this is pretty good, but it's like, it wasn't on theme, right? That's the other problem I had. Like, I found it was like pretty good, like one from Ireland or whatever. And it was pretty good, but it like really wasn't World War One themed at all. So I don't know why it was on the list of World War One metal band. That was weird. But like,
makes it hard.
I just didn't really feel the theme coming from it when I listened to it. It's like, I like it, but it's not really the theme. So I was running out of bands that I wanted to listen to.
Well,
so
yeah,
only got one more to do. So we'll see.
It's one more.
One more. I might be able to make it through. Yeah. It was rough this week. I was just like, I don't like. There's a lot. There's also like, I know it's part of the genre of black metal, but like sometimes it sounds like it was recorded through a tin can. And
is that kind of the tone they have to go for? You think
certain groups like that kind of thing, right? Because it's like, and as a person that has listened to a lot of 80s punk, like, bad recording doesn't necessarily bother me, because like a lot of 80s punk is like that. It was literally recorded in somebody's bedroom, right? Like, or in a shed. And so it's part of the DIY charm. Yeah. And so you're just like, okay, whatever. Like, part of the charm is it kind of sounds weird, right? It's not professionally mixed. It's not anything. And so you're like, okay. But sometimes some bands do that, and it's just like, did you listen to this? Like, what?
Yeah.
This is what you wanted to sound like? Again, as a person who is not like in touch with the genre, it's just like, this was the goal? Like, what? I don't know.
Yeah, we didn't do a second pass. We just moved on. Is that what it looks like we did? Right? Like,
you didn't mix anything. Yeah. Like, where did the sound go? Like, I don't know.
Didn't even do like a test before we got started.
I don't know. This is a delving very long into a world that confuses me, is draining me. But like. And it's hard to find. Again, once you get like real deep into a genre, it starts to become difficult to find things that like stand out.
Yeah,
because it's like the same, right? So, that's a good segue to the other thing I meant to talk about today. So, I also like, because I bought a pair of pants, right? The internet thinks I want to watch men's fashion videos. Oh my days. What? Yeah? This is not a good place to be, right?
No. Oh.
Like, it's a little bit rough, right? Like, first of all, some of them are creatively titled things like how to wear a blue shirt. You're like, who is this for? Like, again, I accept the fact that I am now 40 years old, and every dude in these videos is like 22. Okay, I understand this. These videos are not for me for the most part. Some of them are, but like
that we know of.
Well, some of them I am the demographic, but I'm like the age demographic, but I'm going, why? No, don't do it. Right. So like, whatever. But it's just like, what are you doing? Like, first of all, again, not a fashion person, so like, I don't really care that much. But like, sometimes they wear things. You go, why are you wearing that? Why? Like, I don't know what type of person. So help me, listeners, understand what is happening here. What type of person is watching some of these videos wearing like, yes, white pants, beige sweater, brown jacket. Yes, you have successfully crawled out of a bowl of oatmeal and you have said, this is my fashion sense for today. I understand, like, if people are... I've watched enough What Not to Wear to understand that if you are like attempting to like like drastically or like branch out in your you want like base neutral color pieces.
Yes.
Right. I understand this because you have to start. So you need a foundation on which to build things. So you need a lot of neutral colors. Right. But like always wearing all neutral colors all the time. Is this what you want?
This is
like,
the aesthetic that people have in their homes where they paint them all like
it's like a beige
or like white
right?
with black, and it's all very monotone.
Yeah, when your highlight color is navy,
yeah,
I feel like
yeah,
right, this is not. And then, okay, so this is one end of the spectrum, like 20-year-olds doing 20-year-old stuff, right? These guys, like maximum age is like 25. Okay, so like whatever, that's fine. On the other end of the spectrum, right? Again, because it's like I was watching some other stuff and it kept recommending me like different fashion videos because I looked at a pair of like shoes, right? I don't know. Heaven forbid I need new shoes. So I'm trying to decide what new shoes do I buy, right? But they're like, oh, because you thought maybe you looked at men's boots. Let me show you all of this crazy stuff. It's like, what is this nonsense? It's like all this like heritage style, like crazy expensive, like dudes that wear like $500 boots and like $300 jeans, like those type of dudes, right? And they're all just trying to look like, they all kind of look like James Dean, you know?
That's the goal, isn't it?
That kind of vibe. Like, again, we get to this problem where there's all of these people in like their little genre fashion little sections, and they're like all talking about like one thing, but then they're all talking about like, when you're talking about like, whenever you have a man talking to you and he's talking about like being an individual, right, standing out, and he's wearing black Ray-Bans, a graphic tee with a flannel,
wow,
tapered jeans that are rolled up a little too high, and big lace-up boots. Like, you're not an individual. You're wearing a uniform, and that's fine. That's okay.
You are of a type. Yes,
you're of a type, but don't pretend that you are not.
Yeah.
Right. Like these, like even the like, so like the higher fashion dudes, they do the same thing. They're like stand out, blah blah blah, be yourself. They're all wearing cream colored pants. Okay. When I can't tell you apart, then I can't. Then you're not standing out. This is the problem I always had with like punk stuff, right? Like back in the day, like really into punk music, right? Not so much punk fashion, because punk fashion is lame. Because punk fashion, right? People go, oh, I need to be an individual. I want to stand out. And that worked good in like 1977 for like 2 weeks. And then everybody just started dressing the same. Right? So you can't say be individualized, blah, 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 and then all wear the same thing. Right? Like the message doesn't match. You know what I mean? Like it's always bothered me. Like I understand when you say rebel, like, and when you're talking about fashion and you're saying rebel, what you are talking about is like stereotypical menswear.
Yeah.
Right? Based on, let's be honest, Prussian army uniforms. That's what it's from, right? Your men's suit is based off of Prussian military uniform. That's where it comes from. That's the manly aesthetic, the quote men, right? Oh, and the titles that are like how to dress like a man. Like, what? Shut up. Stop it. That's lame. Like this is what you're going for. So current men's like quote the suit, right, that is either still controversial or like, why don't men wear suits anymore? Because they suck and they're comfortable. But it's fine. And they're based on Prussian military uniforms. So like that's a thing that you can deal with. But like if you want to rebel against that, that's fine. But then like don't be like, we're rebelling by all wearing the same thing. And then we're gonna ostracize people that don't wear the same thing as us. You're like, wait a minute, you missed the point of your own talk. I don't
no, what you get, it's exactly, you said it earlier, like the uniform, and I see it too, of the the cuffed pants, the what is it now? It's the wide brimmed hat with it's all creams and browns and beiges, with the blue jeans that are cuffed, and like the loafers, now they'll wear the shoulder bags or whatever they are, the crossbody bags.
Oh, I'm not into that's like pretty. I'm just like not. I just like. It's not that I'm like against it. I just don't like carrying things. Like what?
I know. And of course, people listening to this going, okay, well, this is just what's known as like the in fashion and the in thing. But I think what you were specifically touching on is it's more than just people who go, oh, I want to have this year's look. This is people who are going, I want to identify, or I want to express myself in who I am by being totally unique and wearing exactly the same thing as a large group of other people.
Yeah.
And
not to say that you can't take inspiration.
Oh, no, because that's everything is inspiration. Everything's a remix, right? We all know that. But like there is that mindset of like, you do realize that your individualistic, like super special expression right now is also exactly what millions of other people are doing. It does ring a bit hollow, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's very like vapid, like very like surface level, right? It's just so like
absolutely
gilded, like, oh, I'm this, like, well, I understand like clothes is important, right, and whatever, and then like but it's so weird, and then you juxtapose that with like, again, there's some people that are like hardcore like menswear YouTube like create like short form creator people, right? And it's just like super old. It looks like they're stepping out of like the 1940s, right? But they're like, this is menswear, and these are the rules of menswear, and all men must follow the rules of men. Like, bro, there's no rules. I don't know how to tell you this, but there aren't any rules. You want to wear black shoes in the daytime? Go for it. You want to wear brown shoes? You want to wear brown shoes past 5 o'clock? Let me tell you what. There's no fashion police coming to get you. You can do it. No one cares, right? No one cares. You care, but no one else cares. No one's gonna be like, oh my God, oh my days, that man is wearing brown shoes at 8 p.m. Oh, clutch my pearls. What a rebel, right? This is not a thing that's happening.
No, it is not.
So like, I just want to buy a jacket, bro. Like, I don't want them to feed me like all this crazy stuff. Like, I just need a jacket that's not like really heavy. Right? That's all I want. That's all I want.
Did you find it? Did you find an answer?
Not
or are you
currently.
Still learning how to put on a blue shirt?
No, I can do that. I have that.
Oh.
See, the problem I have is like I have. Like the jacket that I wear a lot is just a flannel shirt, right? Like my flannel shirt jacket thing. And so sometimes I can't wear that because what if I'm already wearing a flannel shirt?
That makes it a bit hard.
I can't wear a different flannel shirt, right? And this is a very like Wisconsin problem, but like I can't. It's only a Midwest problem, right? That you would have this, but like I need like just a light jacket to wear in the springtime because the one that I wear all the time, my zipper totally fell out of. So like, I guess I could fix my zipper, but I don't know. So, but that's the other problem. Like, dang it! Like I just want a jacket. That's all I want, right? Like I don't know. I don't need to be faced with all these decisions. Like, do I need a denim jacket? No, I don't think so. Because like. Can't wear a denim jacket with denim. I know Kendrick Lamar did it, but I'm not that cool. So like, I can't. I can't deal with that.
No, we're not doing that.
Can't wear denim on denim. That's too much. I can't do that. So like, just trying to buy new shoes. That's all I wanted because my shoes are kind of dying, and like, I need some new shoes. So I was thinking about was like, do I need more tennis shoes or do I need to like step it up a little bit for like being at work? Should I wear tennis shoes 100% of the time? Or should I have like another shoe where I look like a grown up? Maybe. Nah. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, that's the only really hard decision I was trying to make. Right.
Yeah.
Do I need a shoe that might be brown? Like, that's all I wanted. Like, do I need that? Instead of just black sneakers. Is that?
Oh, no.
That's the one decision I was trying to make in my life. And it was. Yeah. Then I was affronted with.
I am coming up on needing new shoes, and I have, if I'm being perfectly honest, worn the same kind of shoe for the past 7 years, maybe. Different. I bought new shoes within that time, but when I was at Bass Pro as an aquarist, I started to wear these men's Moabs because by Merrill men's Moabs.
Oh yeah.
They're super comfortable. They were waterproof, and I just never stopped wearing them. And then, like when I was at work, and then I went off and do toe shoes and stuff. But now that when I do more walking and winter stuff, it's my go-to shoe, and I'm needing to replace mine, and I'm scared. I don't want to branch out. I don't want to get something different.
This is the other problem, right? Well, like the problem comes with let's pretend you live an hour away from most major retailers. Oh, hey, that's me. Hey, what's up?
Me too.
So like if you like, shoes are a problem because all shoes fit very different. Right. Yeah. I know women, the one woman listening to this podcast, Taylor, what's up? They're probably like, yeah, tell me about it. Sizing is made up. Yes, I understand this. But like with shoes, it's a problem because like, this is why I just buy one brand of tennis shoe.
Yeah.
Right. Because they all fit the same.
Yeah.
Right. And whatever. So if you are going to be like, oh, I want like so if you're going to be like, oh, maybe I want a different type of shoe. Now you have a problem because you don't know how it's going to fit.
No.
Right. And I can't remember the last time I used the foot measuring thing. Right. Whatever that device is called. The thing in the shoe store,
yes.
Put your foot on it, but you measure it. Right. So I don't know my like actual shoe size. I just know what shoe size I am in Adidas. That's all I got.
Well, right? I think just real quick, obviously you were referring to the Brannock device.
Yes, the Brannock device. I knew it started with a B.
Yeah.
I knew it started with a B. I was there, but the silver thing that
there's the genuine Brannock device company. Brannock device company sells the genuine thing. Anyway,
there you go.
Yes,
well, I don't want to buy my own Brannock device. I feel like that's a bit much.
But yes, so you want, and even then, slight variations. Like for me, I have been wearing this shoe long enough that it went from the men's Moab 2 to the men's Moab 3, and that was a big adjustment that I had to make to see whether that was a good fit or not. And so you're right, like it's a big investment, especially if it's like, well, like you just got to go with it sometimes, and so then you're really stuck with how much variation are you going to introduce.
Well, it's hard too because like if you wear tennis shoes, right? Most tennis shoe size I wear the same size, right?
Yeah,
but, right. Tennis shoe sizes and like other shoe sizes are not quite the same for like, so like if you're gonna buy like a dress shoe or like a boot perhaps, right, then like your tennis shoe size is oftentimes too big because of the way that it's made, right? Like there's like, because I have a pair of dress shoes and they're just like a touch too big, right? And I bought them just in my normal shoe size because I didn't know what else to do. So like a lot of times they're not like comparable, I find, right? So it's one of those things you get stuck like, oh, this is my shoe size, but is it really though? Right. And then you start panicking like, oh no. Now I can't buy something new because I don't want to send it back because that's annoying.
It is annoying.
So I don't know what to do. I'm just like, oh no.
Well, we will eagerly be awaiting an update to see which.
I wouldn't wait very eagerly if I were you on that. I wouldn't.
Okay. Well, then what we will do is we will dive into book 4.
Oh boy.
You want to do that into this? These 4. What we have? We had 4 chapters. 5
I think
chapters.
it's 5.
5.
I think.
Yes. 33, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yes.
Oh wait, no, that's book 3. Go again. One of these days, I'm gonna remember to use 2 bookmarks. Maybe in the summer book, but one of these days, I remember 2 bookmarks is really the strat that I should be employing when I do this. All right, there we go. Frantically flipping pages, like, where did it go? It's gone.
Totally understandable.
All right. So 33, right? 33.
We get
back in Milan.
And re-entering civilization.
On the run.
On the run. Very interesting. And we're this was an introduction to being on the lam, but also he's talking to a shop proprietor who knows exactly what's going on. Right?
Yeah,
he's
this
a little
is a common thing currently. Like, you thought you were the only one running away. Ha 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 ha.
No.
Let me tell you about every other Italian. Like, what's up?
Right. Well, and it starts off with the proprietor. He says, "What's happening in the front?" And Frederick says, "I would not know." And then, for no particular reason, does the proprietor wave his hand towards the soldiers over there, and he says, "They are drunk." And he points over to there. And that was the first clue where it was like, oh, there's some subcontext here that's going on. Like, there's a different conversation that's going on, that's happening between these two.
It's like the old tap the nose, like, yeah, I got to, right? Like,
yep. Oh
yeah. So he's like, oh yeah, if you're in trouble, I know where to do. He's like, are you in trouble? What if I was, right? Like,
yeah,
he's like, but if I'm not, but if I were, oh, I'm not leaving the country. But if I were to,
yes, yeah,
yeah. He's like, no, I don't need papers. What kind of papers would these be?
Exactly. Yeah, it's just this back and forth of going, okay, right? Like, there's just a lot. Obviously, this has been happening a lot for this to have already been developed. People are getting fake papers, and there's escape routes, and there's all of this stuff going on. And he even points out, this is where he points out where he says, "You're going to need a new coat," and he's like,
yeah. Yeah, like, I can see the stars, right?
Yeah,
it's a different color.
He says, "I can plainly see." Oh,
come on, Frederick! What the heck, bro? And
anyway, yeah. And then he starts making his way.
He goes to the hospital, and he finds the porter, right? And he meets the porter and his wife, and they're very excited to see him. He's good. We're good. Oh, we're good. He asks to see Catherine. Oh, she's not here. He's like, what?
Right.
What do you mean she's not here? She's gone to Stresa. Dang it. So now we have to go to Stresa, which I did Google Map this. We are now going northwest of Milan, right? Okay. That's where we are here. So that's where he's like, I come all the way across. Now I got to go back. I got to keep going more across Italy.
More across. Well, does he meet his friend in Milan, or does he meet his friend in Stresa? I forget where that happened. His singer friend that gave him the clothes, was that in? That was still.
Oh
in
no,
Milan,
that's here in Milan still. That's still in Milan.
Yeah,
that's still in this chapter, right? He goes to see the guy, that random dude that we met like many chapters ago, the guy that was the singer guy that we just like randomly met one time. They just like stopped and started hanging out with them. Right? It's that Simmons guy.
Yes.
Then he's like, "Oh hey, come in." Blah. So yeah, he goes there in this chapter, and he's like, "I need you to go buy me clothes." He's like, "Hey, you don't need. Just take my clothes. I don't care." It was like, but I need to. He's like, "Nah, take mine. I don't need it. It's fine. Yeah, whatever." Like,
yeah,
so yeah, he goes. He meets him, and this is kind of his first stop of like transit because now he's wearing like normal human clothes again, and he's like, "Whoa, this is weird."
Right.
Like, he comments more on it later, but it's like it's kind of weird, right? Wearing not his uniform.
Well, in chapter 34, it starts right off with, "In civilian clothes, I felt like a masquerader."
Oh yeah, yeah.
Right.
Okay,
So go right to that, where again these themes of not belonging, of not knowing who you are, like a lot of like identity and are now it's physically manifested, and it's very interesting because in the beginning, again, going, yeah, he was just kind of going like putting on airs about the war, like he was just kind of there, very apathetic and detached about it. But it's what he knew, and it's what he was involved in. He still struggled with how he felt when he had to wear a gun, and we kind of walk through that. And now it's him trying to leave all of that behind. And here's a physical manifestation of what I think later we kind of get into, of a lot of the internal turmoil of this adjustment. Sure, he's on the run, and so we've got that to deal with. But is this now like, no, I've left it behind me. It died to me. He mentioned that earlier of like, I put that away, and yet he doesn't know who he really is without that.
Yeah. He even says, so he just to kind of go on that theme, he gets to this, he travels up to Stressa. He knows a guy there at the bar, and he's talking to him, and he's ordering a drink and stuff. But he says, the sandwiches, again, these must be small sandwiches, because he's always like, "I ate 3 sandwiches."
Oh, I know. Yes.
So I'm imagining these are like not American style sandwiches, right? Like a normal human, probably. But yeah, the sandwiches came, and I ate 3 and drank a couple more martinis. I had never tasted anything so cool and clean. They made me feel civilized. I had had too much red wine, bread, cheese, bad coffee, and grappa. Right? He's just been. So he's like, this like going again, like he feels out of sorts a little bit. Like this is so removed from his reality for the past, like, what, 4 years maybe or whatever. That like it's jarring, right? This transition is so sudden, right, to him that he's struggling to think about being a civilian, right? Mirroring, of course, the real world reality of so many returning soldiers after World War I, of like struggling to find a place in the world, right? Like where like my reality was so horrible, right? And now here he is just sitting on a bar stool, drinking a martini, eating a sandwich, that he's like, whoa. This is weird.
Well, yeah, especially when you contrast this. I never tasted anything so cool and clean. And things like red wine, bread, cheese, bad coffee, grappa. These are heavy, right? These aren't just light things. It's also they're not served in these typical settings. So you're right. It's like it's a completely different lifestyle. Like this whole they slept, they ate, slept, they breathed this for years and years, and now to suddenly be thrown into back to civilian life, whether running away from the police or just coming home because they survived, how jarring every aspect would be. And this is even coming from a guy who was away from the front line for a little bit, recovering in hospital and kind of living that weird life. So it's interesting how now things taste different, but I think that's also because he's He's also, again, still putting on airs because he went to a very fancy hotel and he's kind of trying to, again, live this different life.
I mean, the very next paragraph too, right? He says, the barman asked me some questions.
Oh,
Don't talk about the war, I said. The war was a long way away. Maybe there wasn't any war. There was no war here. Then I realized it was over for me. But I didn't have the feeling that it was really over.
yeah.
I had the feeling of a boy who thinks of what is happening at a certain hour at the schoolhouse from which he has played truant.
Yep.
Boom. That's a good paragraph. I really like.
Yeah,
that's kind of like the theme of the next, like, this whole couple chapters, right? Is
oh my
that
gosh,
sort of distilled into that right there,
yeah.
right? Like, I really like that one. That was a good. It's like, oh, dang, boom.
Yeah.
So he does find Catherine.
Oh,
and she's with old Miss Ferguson.
And Fergie is
And
super stoked about this.
She's mad.
Not okay.
Right? She's mad at him. It's like, you loser. Right? Like this woman who said once, I am your friend. You'll remember it eventually. Right?
Uh-huh.
Like, don't talk nice to me. Like, I'm your friend here, but you're being an idiot. Oh, she is firmly in that mindset currently right now. She does not really like him at this moment. She's like, what are you doing here? You're ruining everything. Look what you've done to Catherine. Blah, blah, blah.
You're sneaky. She says, you're a snake with an Italian uniform. And he's like, I haven't gotten an Italian uniform. That's just another example of your sneakiness.
Yeah. Like,
oh,
you
my
dirty,
gosh.
sneaking American Italians, which she calls them later. It's like, I hate you. She can't make me not hate you. You dirty, sneaking American Italian. But she knows that he is no good, right? And she knows that he's bad news. And she is Catherine's friend. And she knows that if Catherine goes with him, it's going to be bad, right? She knows this. She's like, I know this is happening. I know I can't stop it from happening, but I hate this and I hate you. This is all your fault.
And that's this chapter. Like, that's really like this that part goes on and on about like Fergie is very displeased, and I think it just shows how relieved she was to finally have Frederick, out of there. And have hopefully get Catherine back on a good track. And in a better place. And now that he's literally just walked back into their lives.
Yep. Just walked in the restaurant. She's like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yep. And it's so bad that's like upsetting the waitress as she's going back and forth.
Yeah.
And it's not.
And this is also playing out in a basically empty hotel because it's been stated most of the time there's no one else here. Right.
Yes.
Like, and the hotel guy is really funny because he's like, there's no one else here. There's nobody here. Who else is here? There's like 6 people here, but there's nobody here really. It's fine.
Well, the cutting ahead, he's like, he find out that it's one guy who like he knows like and has spent a lot of time with, and he's like, who else is here? He's like, well, no one else you would know. Like, it's like, oh my gosh.
That's true.
Oh.
But yeah, hold on. Is this where he starts?
This is him. No. This is now where he and Catherine are together, and he's describing them being together and how they're not lonely, but they are lonely, but they're not lonely because they're together.
Right. Okay. Right. This is what I was going to talk about. But yeah, there's a part that I was looking for where they're talking again. But yeah. So yeah, he's talking about how they're lonely but not lonely. And is that here where he's talking about how I've never felt like I've been with women and felt alone before, but that's not how it is now?
Yes.
Is that here?
That's where he starts. I had been alone while I was with many girls, and that is the way you can be most lonely.
Okay,
but we were never lonely, right? And again, I think speaking yet again to his just pure detachment and apathy towards everything, and yet this has different meaning to him. this is also the point where he says, what does this says? If people bring so much courage to this world, the world has to kill them to break them. So of course it kills them. The world breaks everyone, and afterward many are strong at the broken places. But those that will not break it kills. It kills the very good and the very gentle and the very brave impartially. If you are none of these, you can be sure it will kill you too, but there will be no special hurry. I was wondering how you thought that fit in with what he's working through with being back with Catherine.
Yeah, it's because I think he feels guilty. I think he feels broken because that I found the part that I was looking for. Or because a little bit before that it says, we were never lonely and never afraid when we were together. I know that the night is not the same as the day, that all things are different, that the thing of the night cannot be explained in the day because they do not exist then. Right? And the night can be a dreadful time for lonely people once their loneliness has started. Right? So he's, again, he is not doing well. Right? He's not, I think part of the reason he's wanted to be back with Catherine so bad is because he like we've hinted around before, like he does not do well at nighttime, right? He's not a sleepy boy, right? When this is not the time, he can't deal with it, right? His trauma is presenting like when he's finally alone and there's no one else there, right? It's just him and his trauma together, and he does not want that, right? He doesn't like it. He doesn't know how to deal with it. He's like afraid, and he's trying to like find ways to distract himself so he can't deal with it, right? He doesn't know what to do about this. And so I think he wants to get back with Catherine, like you said, because he needs something to focus on, right? We have to focus on something else, right? We have to put that out and we have to look at this instead. And that's where my focus needs to be. So I don't think about these other things. Right?
Yeah.
I don't think about that ambulance ride down the mountain. I don't think about my knee being in pieces and the guy above me bleeding on me and being in the, rubble and them carrying out my friends and, just trying to eat my macaroni. And then all of a sudden we were blown up, right? And this whole thing, he's not addressing and he doesn't know how to deal with it.
Yeah.
And I think, not saying that anybody would know how to deal with it.
Well,
right.
No.
I'm saying that is the trauma of being in a situation.
That's what's being presented here, right? For processing. And I think in the context of that and not being lonely, but like that whole, many people don't want to be alone, so they go with somebody else. But he said, but we could be lonely together. Again, we could both be dealing with our own separate things and not talk. And it was great because we were together. When he says the world breaks everyone and afterward many are strong at the broken places, he's not including himself at the one that's going to be put back together.
No,
right?
No, I don't think
he's
so.
Definitely saying, I am going to be the ones that it will be killed in no special hurry because of how broken I am. I'm not being put back together stronger here.
Yeah.
And then the next page, for at least on mine, or at least the next paragraph, the rain had stopped. Oh! What?
Hey,
what?
There you go.
Okay, I see where we're going.
Bonus, right? We don't like that, right? Anyway, the next chapter 35 is where we do meet our other guy, right?
Oh, well, I will say real quick in this one, this is also towards the end of this chapter, he's struggling because she has to go do other stuff because she's got to, again, just like when it was at the hospital and this infatuation started, she has to leave and go do other stuff. And he's like, really not okay with this. And she's like, you'll be fine. I have to go do other things. And then we do chapter 35. We meet some new people. Right.
Yeah. A little bit of new stuff. So not like, not just like tons of things. But But he does, he's like, oh yeah, like there's nobody here. There's nobody here. You don't know anybody. Oh, the Count is here. What? I don't.
Yeah. Who? Count Griffin.
Yeah. How is he? Younger than ever, right? Apparently, this dude is 94 years old, and he's just hanging out, and he wants to play pool, right? He's a billiards guy. So, he's talking about that, and then he goes, is where they go fishing? Yeah. So he's like, oh yeah, we'll go fishing. So him and the bartender guy or whatever, they go fishing, right? They're just like, well, nobody else is here. Let's go. So they just go out and they go trolling. So they're trolling from a rowboat, which is a plan, I guess. But this is what they do. They're just kind of rowing around, hanging out. It's cold, but they're trolling deep for lake trout, right? That's what we're doing here.
Hemingway, somebody who didn't like fishing at all. So this was definitely, no. I think this was another, again, you have these moments during this book where it seems very incongruous, and a lot of this is very hard for me to wrap my head around that this could actually happen in a war zone there's all this peace and tranquility going on, and there's like a really fancy hotel that people are doing things, and kind of like life is kind of existing in the surrounding community, but yet it's depopulated. It's not as lively, but the barman's still showing up to serve people, and like it's just very odd. Like when you think,
oh yeah,
right? Like that's what. Again, this is so weird. And then later we get to them actually playing billiards, and it's like, but there's a war going on, and yet these are happening. So this is definitely, to me, like a scene of truly escapism, yet again, of getting out and away, and using fishing to do that.
Yeah. Also foreshadowing for a couple chapters. Just hold that in your mind.
Right, but it's also just this weird like blip of normalcy in amongst what's going on, because the barman does this kind of, it sounds like quite frequently. This is part of what he loves to do when he's not on, or sometimes when he is on the clock. But it just seems very like, I don't know, like it's a weird departure from what's been going on.
Yeah, it is kind of odd. Right. But yeah, then we go and we play billiards with this guy, right? The Count here, Greffi or whatever. And this is a very strange image. They also mentioned that he knows, at some point, they talk about him being 94, and they say like, oh yeah, he knew Metternich, right? Metternich is like a general from like the Napoleonic era, right? Like, it's just like
real quick, before we get there, this continues to be Frederick's struggle. Sorry, I just flipped over and I wanted to mention this.
Right.
She said, I know you haven't anything to do. All you have is me, and I go away. And he said, that's true. She said, I'm sorry, darling. I know it must be dreadful feeling to have nothing at all of a sudden. And he said, my life used to be full of everything. And this was a very interesting statement to me, because you wouldn't have gotten that from reading any of the other 30.
No, not really how he like interacts with her at all, or like
4 chapters. It's like, I'm sorry, you were so disinterested in all of this, and yet he is now looking back and going, that was, I don't have anything without that. That was my entire purpose for 4 years or however long this is. That's where his identity was. And even though reading the previous 34 chapters, you couldn't have told that he cared about that. I think the fact is, it's not that he cared about it. It's that that's all he had. And his own lifestyle had developed in that. And now all of that was ripped away. Right. And now he's just going, I don't know what this looks like after this. He's saying, my life was full of everything, meaning my life is nothing now because I don't have anything except you. And we all know that that's kind of, but
red flag.
But like, I just thought the incongruity of that in my brain when he said, my life was full of everything. and going, no, Frederick.
I mean,
you
he wasn't
couldn't-
really, but he like
you-
had a purpose, right? He being
Yes.
in the army, right? They're just like, go here, okay, go there, okay, go here, okay, that's whatever.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And this is a thing that I think is still applicable to like modern day, right? Because I really feel like we do a lot of disservice to military members because we talk about all this stuff, right? Everyone talks about like, oh, blah, blah, love the military, respect the military, blah, blah, blah. But like the people in the military, like as soon as they're done, a lot of times it's just like, all right, bye. That's it. That's it, right? So you've been, some of these kids, right? They're in the military for 7 years or something, right? And then it's just like, later. See you later. Bye. That's how they get out. They're like, to go into the military, you have to do all this like training to teach you how to be a military person.
Right.
Right. And it's all about like following orders, following directions, because in the military setting, that's how you don't follow step one, right? That's how you obey orders because that's what has to be done. And that's how you keep everyone alive. Right. So you get turned into that, right? I don't want to say brainwashed because that's not the right word, but like your mental state is altered to exist in that universe. Like that is your world, following directions, following order, having other people tell you what to do, knowing exactly what to do at all time. And then at the end, they're like, see you later.
Yep.
And then they just expect you to go like exist in a world all by yourself. Right. When they trained you to exist in a world full of other people and structure and orders and blah, blah, blah. And then they just like no transition dump you back out onto the street.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. You are molded into to fit into again
an environment, right?
An environment, a world that doesn't exist. Like that's pretend. It has to, and it has to be pretend for a very specific reason, right? Like you can't like it is contrived in that. But especially when you get young kids who go in there and then they do spend 6 years, 7 years, 10 years of their life being molded, shaped, impressed upon, and then go, great, thank you. And again, wonderful service. You serve the country well. Now just go be normal and go back into life. And it's like, no, wait. But that's not
there's
life.
no like, for lack of a better term, like deprogramming steps.
Decompression stages from it, right? Like we'll say that. Like there's no decompression time to go from military service into civilian life.
Yeah. And I feel like it's somewhat analogous to prison in that sense, where like some people go into prison and then like they do the thing, they do the time, and then they just go, okay, bye. Right. And since we've all watched Shawshank Redemption, we know what problems can be here, right? Like, I know that movie oversimplifies this, but like that's kind of you have a routine, you have a structure, you know the rules.
Yeah.
And there's a very strict rules, right? Some of them are self-imposed by the other inhabitants of the prison, but then you leave and those rules don't work anymore. And you're just like, oh no.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and then you wonder, wow, why do people reoffend? It's a mystery. No one knows why it could happen. Wait, I don't Anyway, that's topic for later.
Back to Count Griffey.
Yeah, we don't have enough time for American prison reform currently.
No.
It's a big list. So we meet the Count.
Yeah. This was an interesting interaction.
So again, it starts off like this kind of classic Hemingway little thing here. Starts off pretty normal. They're just kind of like talking and whatever. And he's like, oh, you're looking young as ever. And he's like, blah, blah, blah. Like, he's like, no, he wants to talk in Italian. He's like, I know I'm getting old because I want to speak Italian. So we don't really know who this dude is, but we know he's not Italian. He's just been living in Italy, right? I do like also how he does correct him. He's like, but you can talk English. He's like, American. He's like, yes, you can talk American.
American, right?
Whatever. I was like,
oh.
But it sort of plays out, right? This dude is a billiards guy, right? So I don't really know anything about billiards except for I'm bad at it, right? So that's all I got. And I'm bad at pool, but I'm imagining this billiards game does not sound like a normal pool game. So I know how to play pool. Again, I'm not good at pool, but I know how it works. I know how to play 8-ball and I know how to play 9-ball. I don't really know what game they're playing here.
No.
I don't have enough context clues to understand what exactly is going on, but the Count is way better at it than old Henry.
Yeah.
He even spots him like a whole bunch of points and still whoops him pretty bad.
Gave him a pretty good handicap there. Yeah, and then they play, they don't talk much. Again, this weird scene of weird normalcy and escapism in this game.
Concentrating on the game.
Just game.
Right?
Like, we're just going to play this game. And then the Count does finally ask, like, hey, tell me about the war. And Frederick's like,
when they're done, right? Yeah. They open the other bottle. He's like, tell me about the war. He's like, about anything else. It's like, well, okay. So they try to talk about other things. Like, what have you been reading? Nothing. And he's like, oh, blah, blah. He's like, no, I read that. It sucks. He's like, but you said you didn't read anything. He's like, oh, I thought you meant, did you read anything? Good. So, they kind of start talking about, it starts drifting here, right? About how old he is. He's like, the body is old. Sometimes I'm afraid I will break off a finger as one breaks off a stick of chalk. And the spirit is no older and not much wiser. And he's like, you are wise. He's like, no, that is the great fallacy. The wisdom of old men. They do not grow wise. They grow careful. Perhaps that is wisdom. It is a very unattractive wisdom.
Yes. Yeah.
And so, then we really get here, and it's it's a very weird conversation. It's just neither of them are doing great, it turns out, right? They're both pretending. That's what's happening here, because we get, they're talking about cynicism a little bit and, blah, blah. And they just kind of wrap it up. And he goes, the old guy the Count says, they're leaving, right? And he says, if you ever do become devout, pray for me if I am dead. I'm asking several of my friends to do this. I had expected to become more devout myself, but it has not come. I thought he smiled sadly, but I could not tell.
Yeah.
Right. So they're both playing a little.
Yeah. And I almost viewed this kind of as a little, I don't know, like for a while I was like, is this like a weird conversation that Frederick is having with an older self, or like,
a little bit, right? Like,
because both of them are so like, there's this contrast of old and young, but they're also very much alike in their detachment of things and how they are kind of, it's all about a little bit through this conversation about like things you can control and can't control. And I don't know, it just felt, it was very interesting for when I kind of pictured it in that mind frame of like, this is Frederick having a conversation with his older self, because Frederick himself earlier chapters in talking with the priest was talking about maybe, I will find this and maybe I will find faith in this stuff. And here's another man who's having that same thing of like, I thought it would come.
Nothing.
And it's just not. It's like, Yep.
Yeah. So that's anyway, so go from there, right? He goes back up, he goes to bed, blah, blah, blah. It's raining again, right?
There was a storm.
Yep. And I woke to hear the rain lashing the window panes. It was coming in the open window. And then there's a knock on the door. So sometime in the middle of the night, knocks on the door. It's the barman, his friend there. And he's like, come into the bathroom, right? Don't want to wake me up. And he's like, what is this? What do you got to tell me? Is there trouble? He's like, are you in trouble? He's like, no, you are. They're going to arrest you in the morning. Well, what? And so, yeah, arrest me for why? Why are they going to arrest me for something about the war? Do you know what? No, but I know that they know that you were here before as an officer and now you were here out of uniform. After this retreat, they arrest everybody.
Yep.
So he's like, well, well,
he said, if you have nothing to fear, an arrest is nothing, but it is always bad to be arrested, especially now.
He's like, well, I don't want to be arrested. Then go to Switzerland. Well,
yep.
How do I do that? He's like, you just go. He's like, there's a storm. He's like, the boat's done. The storm's over. You got to go on the boat. Right.
And they have to leave now. Right.
Yes.
Like,
because it is quite far. So
we learned that later, right? And he wakes up Catherine, and Catherine's like, she's like, who's in the bathroom, and why is
the barman in the bathroom?
Very groggy.
Yeah, we need to go.
Yeah,
yeah. So they just grab all their stuff and kind of pack up, and they're like, "Oh, we're going for a walk."
Here's again, to show the level of Frederick's detachment yet again. I forgot that when he got in contact with the barman previously, he said, Frederick said, did you get my pipe tobacco? And he goes, no. Did you get my letter? And both of them were lying because Frederick never sent them to him. So there was no letter for the barman to actually have sent. So it was like, wow. And so here Catherine goes, who is he? He says, he's an old friend. I nearly sent him some pipe tobacco once. Like,
ridiculous.
Who he considers
what the heck, bro?
Who he considers a friend is not really friendly here. Like,
yeah.
I nearly sent him some pipe tobacco once. Like, oh my gosh. Surface level. Anyway, yeah, they get in a boat. And
with some sandwiches. There's more sandwiches.
Lots of sandwiches.
More brandy. Don't worry.
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Fine. So yeah, they get in a boat. Now, they are currently, again, I did some Google snooping.
Oh yeah.
Right. So they are currently in a very North Italy. This is Lake Maggiore. Right. It is an extremely long, thin, mountainy lake up here, right? So it's like really, really long up in the mountains. It kind of separates the regions of the Piedmont and Lombardy for those of Italian geography enthusiasts, right? But this is where they are. So this really big lake here. And it's really like a long, thin lake. So they're way down. Stresa is kind of towards the south side. It's in the southern, like, I don't know, third of the lake, maybe. And but the Swiss border is way far away.
Yeah, I think in the book they say 35 kilometers.
Yeah.
Or something.
It's really far.
And they got to get there by morning because otherwise.
Yeah. And this place they're going, the place he says you aim for the Brissago or whatever.
Yeah.
That's like the first town on the Swiss side.
Oh.
So like, it's not like right across the border, but it's like,
getting there.
It's on it's the first like town you will see if you were going up the lake. Right. And he's like, well, I don't know where to go. I don't know which direction. He's like, just you have to row into the wind. Right.
Yeah.
Because the wind is coming off the mountains, right? Off the Alps. And so he's like, it'll blow this way for 3 days. So don't worry. You got to go up the lake. So he's got to throw 35K up the lake, which does not sound like a particularly fun excursion, right? Like that doesn't sound great.
And in closing here, Frederick says, "Good luck. We thank you many times." And he said, the barman says, "You won't thank me if you get drowned." And Catherine says, "What does he say?" He says, "Good luck.
Good luck."
Good luck.
Yeah.
Onward.
Yeah. Everything's fine. Everything is fine. So
yeah. And then we go.
But then it was not fine.
And we go into 37.
Yeah, this was a very long chapter.
This was
Most of it's rowing. Most of it's rowing, though.
Most of this hard, arduous, back-breaking work of him, like literally and figuratively trying to leave a previous life and make it new, right? Like,
yeah, really, you can see it's like this, like very, potentially Sisyphean task of like really rowing up, really going uphill and rowing into the wind, up like against all the odds, fighting for something different.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I mean, literally trying to get to neutral zone at least, right?
Yeah.
Is what he's trying to at this point.
Yeah, so he does. There is a couple, like one humorous episode where he attempts to use the umbrella as a sail.
Oh yeah,
that doesn't particularly go well. He does take a sandwich break at one point. She rows for like a little bit, but just kind of like, some more chill rowing. But his hands are really sore and hurting, right? She keeps trying to make these dumb jokes where she's like, "Hey, can I have he's drinking water from the bailing tin, right?"
Yeah.
And she's like, "Do you want more?" He's like, "No, I've had enough." And she's like, "Because there's plenty more.
There's plenty." I know.
There's plenty more water if you need some more.
Oh. Yeah.
Bro.
And it's just,
what the heck?
I know. And he's trying so hard. Like, he is doing his best to be protector, provider, like sacrificing for, yes, himself, but also she's in the boat too.
Yeah.
Like, he's doing this to bring her with him into this life that they have.
You could say they're all in the same boat.
You could say, right? But like, yeah, this just went on and on.
Yeah, we go to the great detail about all the treacherous danger he's in, right? About how he's trying to stick close to the shore because he doesn't want to get lost in the lake. But when he comes close to, when he sees lights and stuff, he goes out into the lake so that people on the shore don't see him.
Can't see
right? And then he pretty sure he heard a boat motor at one point, but he was certain that they couldn't see in the night, and he's just rowing, so he kind of stopped rowing so they wouldn't have heard him, right? So he's trying to be sneaky, right? So it's a lot of great detail about how he is navigating this, like his mindset on what he's got to do. He's like very hyper vigilant of all threats at this moment, right? Even in the war, he was not like this on edge and like alert, right? Or at least we never got that sense, right?
But it's because
in the retreat, he was just like,
okay,
let's go over there.
But I think that does show you at least his attachment, because the only thing different now is it's Catherine, right?
Yeah.
It's
or Amo.
Yeah. Like, it's
Rip Amo.
Yeah, sorry. Like, it's him fighting for that. And just that he's really putting it all out there to make this work. And you do get this sense, because later, they land and it's this like, I don't know, like this culminates in this big sense of accomplishment and true
it's very
freedom.
Triumphant, right? Yeah. Even then, like, he's like dead, and they just go into this little diner thing, and he's just like blah, and he's like, "How many eggs do you want?" He's like, 3. She's like, "You need 4." He's like, "Okay, 4." Like,
yeah. Oh, and it's like, I think this ultimately is a tragedy, and we know some of the metaphors, but as they're stepping out, it's Catherine, at least, is like, everything is amazing here. She says, look at the houses. Isn't this a fine square? Right? There's a place we can get breakfast. Isn't the rain fine? They never had rain like this in Italy. It's cheerful rain. And here we are, darling. You do realize we're here. It's like no, the rain. Like, no, this is still supposed to be like, you're still in danger. There's still trouble here. The rain is not like a cheerful rain.
But I mean, really, is it? It's not that dangerous because, like, they do get arrested, right?
Yes.
But it's like we get this very interesting juxtaposition between what he's been dealing with before and like the Swiss way of doing things, right? We start off with the guy.
That's true.
Right? The custom house guy.
Yeah.
Who's just like, he's like, what are you doing here? Blah, blah. And then he sees that they have American and British passports and they have a bunch of money. And he's like, yeah, okay. Well, you
welcome.
Here. Yeah, okay. That's not a nefarious thing to do. So, like, it's fine.
And then
he's like, we're tourists and we want to do the winter sport. Yep. And he was like, well, this is no place for winter sport. He's like, I know. We want to go where they are doing winter sports. Like, what have you been doing in Italy? Studying architecture. And my cousin here has been studying art. But don't they have winter sports in Italy? Well, not right now because of the war. So we wanted to do winter sports. And he's just like, all right, whatever. Like,
yes, yeah. And he does go into this because then he's like, oh crap. And he turns to Catherine. He starts asking her about like art. And she's like, do you know any artists? And she's like, oh yeah, yep, I got this one. And he says, like, I will have to send you into Locarno and boat is confiscated. Here's your bags. But like, you know, what is it? He goes into say, I'm sorry, where Frederick has a little bit of a disposition about basically nobody believed this at all. We just had to stick to our guns enough to get through this. And
he's like, they didn't believe a word of it, but they also didn't really care. Right?
Yeah.
Like, they're just like, whatever. It doesn't matter.
And they can kind of go wherever. And they questioned us, but they were polite because we had passports and money. And they start debating about like, where's the best town to go for winter sports.
This is the best part, right? Like this extreme juxtaposition about like the way things are like all the stuff they've been dealing with, all the, like the serious like life or like the front in Italy, right? And you got these two bros here in Locarno, and they're talking about where if you want to do winter sports, which again, I just like how he's just like, we want to do the winter sport, you know? And he's like, which one? But where do you want to go? Well, do you want to go? You could just stay here in Locarno. It's very lovely. But the other guy is like from the other place, the Montreux, and he's like, no, you should go there. It's way better. And so there's like these two guys that are, one is from Montreux, and I think the other one, it sounds like he's from Locarno because he's like, you should just stay here. Locarno's great. You'll never find any place greater than Locarno. And the other guy's like, obviously Montreux is way cooler.
Yeah.
Because like, I myself have luged the streets of Montreux. I have done it not once, but several times. And luging is certainly winter sport.
And then the
other official turned to me. Is luging your idea of winter sport? And Henry's like, what is luging?
Yeah, she has never seen. And then they have a disposition and actually a discussion about whether luging and tobogganing are all that different. And this is wonderful.
This is hilarious.
I am here for this.
It's just really funny. And like this whole like, I'm just okay. So, yes, you see, he has never heard of luging. That meant a great deal to the second official. He was pleased by that. Luging, the first official said, is tobogganing. I beg to differ. The other official shook his head. I must differ again. Toboggan is very different from the luge. Toboggan is constructed in Canada of flat laths, and the luge is a common sled with runners. Accuracy means something.
Gosh.
Like, well, can't we toboggan? Of course you can. But you could toboggan very well. However, it's not luging.
Yes. They import their own. Yeah. Yep.
And then again, we see like tobogganing requires a special piste, which I'm assuming means like a permission, right?
Yes,
and
I think so.
You
Yep.
can't toboggan. You could lose, but you can't toboggan. Blah blah blah. It's like it's just this whole.
Yep, and they're going back and forth.
I must protest against you advising going to Montreux because better winter sport is in Indegren or Murin. And he's like, no, we want.
Yeah, and he goes, oh, at Les Avants, above Montreux, there is an excellent. And then finally, Frederick's like, we must go. My cousin is tired. Thank you so much. You just.
Oh, it's so ridiculous. And so they're just free to move about. They just have to report to the police when they get there. Like, oh, hey, we're here. Blah. Like, it's.
Oh, my goodness.
It's so great. Like, it's. So we have this like really bizarre, hilarious thing. And then, then they go on their way. They do kind of have a little thing like they don't want to believe that they've made it, right?
Yeah.
She says, I don't want to believe I'm afraid I'll wake up and it won't be true, right? It is true, isn't it, darling? I'm not just driving down to the station in Milan to see you off.
Yeah.
Right? This is real. We did make it all the way here. So there. They've made it to Switzerland.
To Switzerland. And we enter book 5.
The end. Look.
We're on our way there.
Yes.
Okay.
Indeed.
Yeah, this is an interesting transition to a promised land, safety. We'll see how long it lasts.
Probably not very long.
Not very long. That's what I'm guessing.
Have some bad omens about just what's up here.
Again,
so I don't.
Yeah. Yeah, not feeling the best about this.
No. So we'll see. Right, I think there's only 4 or 5 more chapters, so we'll be done.
Yeah. We'll just read them all.
Sounds good.
Okay.
All right. On my actual week of haikuage.
Aha.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Wait, what do you mean updating information? Okay. I was like, try again later. No, I need to open my app now. My app now. All right, here we go. My actual haiku, since I accidentally infringed on your beautiful living haiku last week.
Oh, that's fine.
Sorry. Telling wild stories. Vivid imagination. Big details. Small world.
Ooh. Ah! I like that. Small world.
Yeah.
Boom, boom. Love it.
Boom.
Good. No, I like that a lot. Okay. Well, I don't freeze between now and
either.
now.
Driving around with your dog. You better get Balto out there and drive you around, boy.
I need to figure this out. I need to figure out how to get a toboggan, I guess, out there with the dog and see if that works.
Yeah. Tomorrow, tell me if the snow is better for luging or tobogganing. That's what we really need to know.
I will see what kind of report I can give back to this and let you know as soon as possible.
All right.
And on that, we'll do this again next time.
All right.
Okay. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye.